Hello everyone. How are you nowadays? It's already first week of our lecture on early Buddhism, and today I have one good news and one bad news for you. Which one do you want to hear first? Good news or bad news? Good news. Good news is that we have a kind of a general meeting on how to continue this online lecture, and university headquarters decided, we do not have to have a midterm exam, so maybe only in this term, we do not have to have a midterm exam. Maybe I can give you assignment, maybe 1 or 2 pages of a report. I can just substitute for your midterm exam with kind of assignment. And one bad news was that university has just decided that this kind of online lecture will be extended to the second weeks of May. So according to the conclusion of the general meeting, face-to-face lecture, we will finally meet each other, will start at the 11th of May. 11th of May. So another 3 weeks delay, on condition that if this COVID-19 epidemic is getting better in South Korea, getting better in Seoul, maybe 1 week can be earlier. We can start 1 week earlier. But generally speaking, the face-to-face lecture, we will finally see each other, postponed to 11th of May. I'm not sure whether you like it or not, but that's the one just decided by university headquarters. So I don't know whether it is good news or bad news for you, but that I can't do anything about it. So this is our post lecture, and before we continue, I just give you information. So last week I have some problem with the recording of our lecture, so I sent that problematic file to Cisco Service Center, and they send me back the problem, the file which has got some problem. So now in this early Buddhism e-class website, if you go to 강의 목록 list of the lecture, you can have a online first week number 1, online second week number 1 and number 2, third week number 1 and number 2. So it cover all the lecture we've done so far. So anyone who'd like to listen, again, or anyone who are not sure about what I said during the lecture, you can just go back and check it. And one more thing is that as some of the students said to me, the story of India, the documentary I've shown you during the lecture, cannot be uploaded to a YouTube channel because BBC studio has got copyright. So that part where the story of India, I just put it in the lecture, I just elided it. So I'm so sorry about that. So anyone who has got personal question about that part, you can send me an email. But at the moment, I don't know how to deal with it. At the moment, I'm not sure. I don't know how to deal with it. But anyway, I uploaded all the lecture in our 강의 목록 list of lectures, so that you can hear, you can coming back and revise. And post week, I also put our lecture handout together with the YouTube link to the life story of the Buddha. So maybe not today, maybe from Wednesday, I'm going to talk about life story of the Buddha, which is among the most important part for early Buddhism lecture. So for that, I've already made my YouTube video in Mini Buddhism channel. So anyone interested in, knowing what was going on there, you can have a link here. All the foreign student, you have an English link as well. So I also have a English link. It's a 9 YouTube video. You can just check. So that's it. That's the one you can actually check. So today is the first lecture in the fourth week, and as I understand, until last week, I was talking about Aryan people establishing the idea of karma. Aryan people or Sanskrit speaking people. Sanskrit speaking people establishing the idea of rebirth and samsara. So today, I'd like to talk briefly about Indus Valley civilization. You can see here, I put it very briefly about Indus Valley civilization section. I'm not going to go into very detail because Indus Valley civilization has got their own character. But unfortunately, we do not have any, how can I say, we don't have any, decipherment of Indus Valley civilization character. So if we do not have a character, actually understand, we cannot say what was going on there. So it is very difficult for us to talk about. But there are possibilities. There are possibilities. As in this handout, you all have in this handout. You can see here in this small photo, we have a tree god. I think it's a female tree god. Even nowadays, tree in Sanskrit is a female. The gender is female gender. So female tree god worshipped by female devotee together with the cows. Together with the cows. Still in India, cow is very important. Cow is sacred. So you can see some kind of a continuity from Indus Valley civilization to current Indian culture. And the second one, one of the very famous, photo of God Indra doing meditation. So I think I should show you this more clearly. This one. If I make it bigger. So the character above this figure was Indus Valley character, civilization character. We cannot decipher. Might be a simple name, or just like Egyptian hydrograph. Each character has got some kind of a sound. We are not sure. So the problem for Indus Valley civilization is that we cannot decipher those characters, so that we are not access to the details of Indus Valley civilization. So especially when we think about the origin of the idea of samsara and karma, it is almost impossible. And very little material we can actually get, we can access to. That's another problem. But anyway, this is a very important seal, because here, how can I say, the figure was just sitting in the yogic posture. What do you think about that in yogic posture? This posture was called a butterfly posture. So if you are doing yoga, you should prepare. You should prepare. So butterfly posture, you have your legs like that, and then you something like that. You do the exercise before you actually starting the yoga. So you can have your legs going up and down, so that it look like a butterfly. So it was called the butterfly posture. And here, exactly, this figure has got a butterfly posture. And this person was not sitting on the ground, but sitting on the elevated place, which means yoga is something venerated by other people. Kind of yoga, kind of, butterfly posture and so on, tend to be regarded as something of high culture, not just, bottom culture. It's a high culture. So this one actually show some kind of a continuity of a yoga tradition from Indus Valley civilization to current day Indian culture. In the old days, we tend to regard Indus Valley civilization as something different from current day Indian civilization. But nowadays, we all agree there are some similarity and some continuity from Indus Valley civilization to the current day, in Indian culture or Hindu culture. But the problem is that there are very little tiny material we can work with, so it is almost impossible to say to you clearly about what was going on there. So anyway, even though those things show some kind of a continuity of ideas and practice from Indus Valley civilization to Hindu or current day Indian culture, but that's not enough to determine whether idea of rebirth and samsara originated from Indus Valley civilization. So I have to say we should have a question mark. Question mark. We shouldn't determine at this stage, but we can put some question mark on the possibility of the origin and development of idea of rebirth and samsara, rebirth and karma in Indus Valley civilization. That I'd like to talk to you before we move on to the third part, samsara and karma in Ganges River, Ganges Valley tribal culture. Tribal culture, 부족 문화 in Korean. Tribal culture, we usually talk about it when we don't know who they are. Tribal culture in, Stone Age period. Tribal culture in Bronze Age period. We use the word when we are not sure who they are. So tribal culture, I put it here mainly because we don't know. Very little material left. The Aryans or Sanskrit-speaking people, try to establish their own sacred book, and they writing down, they memorize what they think about it very carefully, handed over from father to son, and so on, so that we can have lots of rich Sanskrit literary tradition in Aryan civilized Aryan culture. But Ganges River Valley area, before Aryan came, we have very little evidence left. But fortunately, we have many things we can guess. So Ganges Valley. Ganges River Valley. I think I need a drawing. So this is India. This is the Indus River, and then the 5 rivers, Pancha. And then this is Ganges River. So you remember Aryans first enter into the India around this area, and somehow they step by step move from there to Ganges River Valley area. You can remember, and then they met kind of a different kind of people, which means people living in this lower or middle part of Ganges River Valley area are different. They are indigenous people of India, and then they step by step, around this area, they mixed together. And then, when Hinduism or Brahmins, dominated Indian culture, so they dominated all the Ganges River Valley area, and this original religion, original culture of indigenous people, step by step, totally disappear. So nowadays we have a very little evidence to work with, the original idea of Indian people living in there. But fortunately, 3 major religions we can access to. So one was called the Ajivikas, and second one, Jainism. Second one, Jainism, and third one, Buddhism. So Ganges River Valley area, before Aryans, Sanskrit speaking people arrived there, there are 3 religions, major religions, already flourished, in that area. Maybe Ajivika or Jainism and Buddhism has got its root in those area. I have to say, those area. So Jainism has got its center very similar to Buddhism. So this Magadha area, the ancient kingdom of Magadha. I can put the text. Magadha. I think Magadha. This ancient kingdom of Magadha, or surrounding area, Magadha area is correspond to current day Indian state of Bihar. Current day Indian state of Bihar. That's the roughly, I have to say, Magadha area. So those area people and so on and different, and all 3 religion, Ajivika, Jainism, and Buddhism, originated from the Bihar, Indian state of Bihar. Yeah. So you can see here this map. You can see this area Bihar, and I have to say, in terms of Buddhism, slightly bigger, but this Patna and the Gaya and Bodh Gaya and those area was the place where Buddhism first flourished. So those area, I have to say, was center of a new religion during the time of the Buddha. So Ajivikas and Jainism all has got its center surrounding here Rajgir, because this town of Rajgir nowadays is a very small town, but in the old days this Rajgir is a capital city of Magadha kingdom. So Magadha kingdom, ancient Indian kingdom covering around the area of current day Bihar state. You should remember. You should remember. So in this Bihar state, new religions center of new religion tend to be regarded as a center of new religions. So you remember in the Buddhist text, 육사외도, 6 different new religion occur before the Buddha appear. 6 new heretic, we can say, anyway, new religions, in the area of Magadha. So Magadha is the center of those new religions. And most important 3 religions, Ajivika, Jainism, and Buddhism. So I have to say, there are many things they can share each other. For example, in Sanskrit speaking people versus Ganges Valley religion. I think it's too big. So Sanskrit speaking people, Aryans versus Ganges Valley religion. So for Sanskrit speaking people, dead body, you remember last week I said to you that for Brahmins, human being it consists of soul and body. So for them, soul is among the most important thing. So dead body for them, not good. Not good. So they should remove dead body as soon as possible. As soon as possible. So how they can remove a dead body as soon as possible from the surface of the world? It's a cremation. Cremation, 화장, cremation, burning the body, just destroy it, That's the best way they can do. So cremation means just disintegrate all the component of the dead body and just remove it. For Sanskrit speaking people, dead body is not good. So they like to remove. They like to make it disappear from the surface of the world as soon as possible. But that's the different from the 3 religion in Ganges River Valley area. So, especially Buddhism, we usually regard the Buddhism as a relic. Relic cult. Some Western scholars tend to regard the Buddhism as a relic cult. So relic means in Sanskrit as sharira. Sharira in English, dead body. Dead body. Sharira in English is a dead body. So for Sanskrit speaking people, dead body is tend to be regarded as among the most how can I say, dirty, not clean things. So they like to remove. But for the people in Ganges River Valley area, some dead bodies, especially part of the body, of the body of the holy man, tend to be regarded as something very important. So, for example, when the Buddha passed away, his body cremated, and then people collected remaining remains of his body, and we call them as a shari, sari, sari, and then we regard the sari as something of a very important, So on the one side, Sanskrit-speaking people, they hate, remains of the dead body. But on the other side, Ganges River Valley religions, a part of the dead body, especially of the holy person, tended to be regarded as something very, very important, very, very important. So, so in India, we have a stupa cult. Stupa, I have to say, among the most important stupa, maybe you haven't seen it yet, but among the most important stupa we can see in Sanchi in India, and sorry, this is a stupa, very small. So this is a stupa. We call it as a bultap or pagoda, and stupa is designed to enshrine part of the dead body of the holy person. So if you go to Thailand, if the title of the temple include Wat Mahatat, Maha means great and big, Tat means Datu, and Datu means remains of the dead body of the holy person. So this kind of stupa construction tend to be built to enshrine part of the holy person. So this stupa in Sanchi dedicated to the Buddha. So we believe inside of this structure there are part of the dead body of the Buddha or dead body of the holy person. So Indian people, maybe in ancient days, they regard this stupa as something the same as the Buddha, So this stupa cult continue to exist in India. So what is it? So in India, to the western coast, from the western coast to a little bit up of the Deccan, there was a small town called Pune, and the Pune, Pune, Pune. Pune is a home of many important universities and colleges, and also Rajnishi Ashram, center of Rajnishi Ashram, already there. It's a religious place. So one of the hills of the Pune was called Hill of Sannyasin. Sannyasin. And the Sannyasin means a holy person. And if you go there, just the ground, and there are some stones, to show this is a tomb of Sannyasin. And when I checked literary material, around the 17, I can't remember exactly, somewhere in 1790, French Catholic priest was there when they built this tomb of Sannyasin, and he recorded everything about how to build this tomb of Sannyasin, so that we can actually see what was going on there. So according to that, the record from a French missionary, one of the holy person in this Pune area just passed away. So when he passed away, people under him try to make him sitting down, just like a meditation posture. Maybe he passed away lying down, something like that. Just lying down, he passed away. But they make his body just like doing the meditation. And then they prepare a kind of, how can I say, they digging into the earth and making the space for this dead body. And then they use some salt and oil to have a perfect water resistance against any moisture and so on. And then they put the body inside. So so something like this. This is the ground. They built this, they digging in and did all the water resistant stuff. And his body was like this. And then only his head going up like this. And then this upper part was covered with the stones, something like that. And then it became his tomb. So as you can see, if this Sannyasin culture originated from Sanskrit-speaking people, they just burn it and just remove it. That's the only way they can do. But Sannyasin is not originated from Indian culture, but originated from Ganges River Valley religion. So that is why they try to preserve the dead body of the person, something like that. So whenever I went to Pune, I go to this hill of Sannyasin, and I ask my Indian friend, what do you think about it? Is this Sannyasin, the holy person, still alive, or he just passed away? And many of my Indian friends said to me that Sannyasin is just still there. Even though he cannot talk with each other, but he is in deep meditation, and he is just still alive there. So this tomb, even though we call it as a tomb, for Indian people, this is not the tomb. This is a symbol of the person who just passed away, and he is alive there. He tended to be regarded as alive there. So this kind of stupa was built in many places of India. Many Buddhists think of this stupa as a kind of a symbol to show the Buddha was still alive, symbol of the Buddha still alive. Buddha is still teaching, and Buddha we can still get access to. And this kind of stupa moving from India to China and Korea, we have this pagoda top or pagoda top. So I'm not sure how many of you think of a pagoda as some kind of a symbol for the Buddha still alive. I'm not sure. But for the ancient Indian culture, this pagoda actually show the person is still alive. That's the stupa. So this sari, they try to preserve it, and this sari is a symbol, tended to be regarded as a symbol of the holy person, or teaching. His teaching still alive. I mean, that's the meaning of sari for the people usually stay in Ganges River Valley area. So as you can see, it's totally different. Oh, sorry. And next one. What else can we talk about difference between the two? The second one I can think about is how can I celibate? How can I say non-marriage? Non-marriage. How can I say going post? Sorry, I just cannot remember English word. This one. Celibacy. Non-marriage, which means celibacy. celibacy. 독신주의. You know, in Sanskrit-speaking people, when they are getting older, they go to the forest. So you remember when Sanskrit-speaking people move from Punjab to Ganges River Valley area, they found the forest. And the forest is a good place for philosophical thinking, good place for, thinking back on their own tradition. So when they going into the forest, when they retire, they build the ashram. So nowadays, many yoga center was called ashram. But ashram in the old days was the place where Brahmins or kshatriyas, when they did all their duty, finish it, retire from society to the forest. That's the ashram. Unchincha. Maybe we can say unshincha, ashram. So when Brahmins retire from the society to ashram, are they going alone or together with the family? They usually go with the family, There was no celibate culture in Aryan tradition. So many Buddhists read the Vesantara Jataka. So in the Vesantara Jataka, the Prince Vesantara decided to have how can I say, going back, going to the forest from the society. He go there with his wife. So basically, for Sanskrit-speaking people, family is very important. So they usually go to the forest together. While for Buddhism or for Jainism and for Ajivika as well, become a religious person means celibacy. So they should abandon their family. They should abandon their family. So 출가 in Korean, 출가. So that's the one of the key difference between Sanskrit-speaking people and the religion occur in this area. So, so when I was MA student, I study on the 법경 스님. KY 법경, Venerable 법경. He was my supervisor during my MA, and he studied Buddhism in Paris, France, and he stayed there in France for 15 years, and he finished his degree from Paris 4, Sorbonne University, and then he came back, and I become one of his disciple when he came to the Dongguk University. And one day, when I was second year MA student, my supervisor said to me that he admired one of his teacher, Andre Baho. He said he admired one of his teacher called Andre Baho. Andre Baho is one of the famous French Buddhist scholar on Buddhism, and he said to me that Andre Baho, when he studied Buddhism, and he decided to do something like a Buddhist do, and then Andre Baho decided not to get married. So celibacy. Andre Baho continued to do it until he passed away. So my supervisor, Bakyang S님, see me in very understanding eyes, and how about you? Why don't you become a monk so that you can continue your study together with your own practice? When you become a monk, it might be a lot easier. He actually said to me. So I answered him back. I've already had a girlfriend. That's impossible. And my family do not want me to become a monk. So I still remember that. Anyway, this kind of a celibate culture is kind of a thing you can see among all the religion occur in that Ganges River Valley area. So Jainism, they become gone post and become a Jain monk, or Ajivika. Even though Ajivika nowadays disappear, but in the old days, all the Ajivika monks become celibate. So celibacy is a kind of a culture among religions in that area, and this celibacy is very important for Buddhism as well, because which one? Coming here. One more section. What I mean was that when the Buddha was born, he has got 32 special mark, and anyone born with 32 special mark, either to become a universal king or religious leader. And become a religious leader means one should abandon their family. So the father of the Buddha worried about his son. India, all the father want their son to follow the footstep of the father. So the father was the king, son become the king. The father was a merchant, son become merchant. The father was the religious person, son become religious. Something like that. So celibacy means his life going to the religious direction, So this kind of a celibate culture is one of the key feature of religion occur middle or lower part of Ganges River Valley area, and I have many Indian and Thai friends who has got their religion in that in Buddhism, and they become celibate monk. And I asked them, especially my Indian friend, why people in Ganges River Valley area want celibacy when they like to become a religious person. And my friend said to me that I still admire his decision to become a celibate, but he usually said to me that where is it? He usually said to me that men have got their capacity, so their capacity is limited. So for Indian tradition, maybe human beings has got limited capacity. So this is among the 100%. But for my friend, around 70% of our capacity, we use it for our family. So for me, I have to take care of my family. I have to earn money. I have to brought up my children, and I have to do something for my wife, and so on. So family duty is just so great that the human capacity, almost 70%, goes to taking care of the family. So he said to me that the truth of the universe. How to live a life. Those are the big questions. Those are big questions. The truth about a universe, not university. The truth about the universe and how to live a life is a kind of a question so big. But if we are looking for the answer to those questions, we can only use 30% of our capacity, because all the 70%, our ability goes to taking care of a family. So in order to achieve the knowledge of the universe, the knowledge of how to live a life, in order to do that, according to Indian people, we should empty our capacity first. So we should empty our capacity first, which means going forth, which means become a celibate. And then we have, 100, all the capacity, we can use it to find the answer for those questions. So that is why, according to my friend, we Indian people, when we decided to become a religious person, become a celibate. I'm not sure whether you agree or not. That's the general answer for that. So this kind of a celibate culture already widespread, middle or lower part of Ganges River Valley area before Aryan people came. So I think two things I was mentioning here. Celibate culture and Lely cult I just mentioned. So this is totally different from Aryan speaking people, the culture of Aryan culture and so on. So you can see kind of a clear division between the two. So three religions, Ajivika and Jainism and Buddhism, when we see, there are different. Those are the common things. Different. Jainism, Ajivikas, Jainism, and Buddhism. When we check a difference between those three religions, we can easily find out that Ajivikas could be the first person to accept the idea of rebirth. They accept the idea of rebirth, but they reject the of karma. They accept the idea of rebirth, but they reject the idea of karma. So that's the Ajivika. And Jainism accept both idea of rebirth and of karma. So they accept both idea of rebirth and karma together. And Buddhism, the same. Buddhists also accept the idea of rebirth and karma, But between the two, Jainism and Buddhism, a big difference between the two was that for Jains, karma means material. Karma means material attached to our soul or vitality, called jiwa. Something material attached to our vitality or our soul. Material, like a dust, like a dust. Oh, like a dust. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Like a dust. For Buddhism, karma, why means intention before action. So our intention before action, and the karma also can be before action, which can be classified into 3 categories: good, bad, neither good nor bad. Neutral, 무기 in Korean. Neither good nor bad. 3 categories. So that's the difference between all 3 religions. So I think I can explain special feature of Ajivika and Jainism and Buddhism and those different things. I think I should explain this Wednesday, because this is interrelated, and no time for me today to continue. So I think it's already 52 minutes. I stop here today's lecture. I will continue on the kind of a difference between 3 major religions in Ganges River Valley area. Ajivika, kind of a fatalism, kind of a pessimistic, religion, and Jainism, ascetic religion, and Buddhism, mild meditating religion. What's the difference between them, and what's the meaning of rebirth and karma for Buddhism? I will talk about it on Wednesday. So I stop here. Stop here today, and I will see you on Wednesday. 감사합니다. 수요일 날 계속하겠습니다.
감사합니다.